should start soon. Okay, and we're starting. So, okay, hi everybody. Welcome to this month's community call. This is basically December's community call, but we just pushed it by a week because it fell in between the in-between days of Christmas and New Year's. So we thought we'd start the year with just like a quick community call. Not sure how much we'll have to talk about, but I think that this is a good opportunity for everybody to kind of talk about any scoping that they've done for the new year, for the new month. I know that a lot of the core teams have been resetting objectives, so we can use this as an opportunity to share that work. But it's also, you know, probably going to be a little bit more informal and light since we're just coming back from the break. So happy New Year to everybody here and everybody listening. And so we'll get started. Should we pass off to Fintan first?
Sure thing. Just pressing all 20 buttons that I need to press before I can share my screen. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Yep. Audible confirmation. Thank you. Okay. Are we going to have a second January update? Because I've titled this January.
We can figure out the titling.
Right. I'll title next one January 2.0.
Exactly.
Anyways, yeah, this one is short and sweet because there was a quieter December with some of the team taking time off. So the most amount of cooking was probably the turkeys, vegan or otherwise. But there was some major progress on that. We've merged the replication v3 code in. It's currently guarded by a feature flag called replication v3, aptly named. And the v2 still exists, and we've tried to make the transition between the two as smooth as possible. But we encourage the downstream dependents to try it out as soon as possible, and the plan is to deprecate it within the month, I believe. So try it out, let us know if it's improved things, and yeah, that's that. So what have we got cooking? So the New Year has gone by and we did a kind of longer meeting. Usually we meet once a week on Tuesday for an hour, but this time pretty much lasted the whole day, where we discussed the proposal of road planning that we posted last year, or at the end of last year, and discussed more of the points in kind of finer details. So in short, our main objective is to host Radicle Link using Radicle Link, the usual dog feeding story. So what this involves is improvements to our networking stack, playing with collaborative objects, so trying to define a tasks object, trying to define patches and other nice things, and then fleshing out the peer-to-peer stack. So Alex has started work on the minimal viable peer, as it's called, and see where it goes from there. And then some general stabilization of the replication code, the identity code, and work on other existing infrastructure and tooling. So it's going to be a busy year ahead, but all exciting, and can't wait to be using Radicle on Radicle. And final note, I just wanted to give an honorable mention because we found out that XLA won't be continuing to work alongside us, but we hope to see him involved in the project in the future, and it's been such a pleasure to work with him, and I'm going to miss his banter. And that's it. Stay radical.
For sure.
Any questions?
Maybe. Well, big shout out to XLA. I didn't know that either, so that's sad, but very exciting. Maybe he'll be involved in the future for sure. Cool. Thanks for the update, Fintan. Any questions for Fintan on this stuff? No?
Sweet. Thanks for listening.
Cool. Thank you. We can move it on to Upstream. I think we have Rudolph's here.
Sure.
Do you guys have any updates?
Yes. Let me check. I don't have. I mean, I'll share my screen later. I want to show something in Upstream, but yeah, last month Thomas and I were off for the last 2 weeks of the month. We got in some replication fixes for Upstream and Upstream seed in the first 2 weeks, and we wrote some end-to-end tests for these replication fixes. And Thomas also talked to the Link team and reported some bugs that we discovered, which they fixed, and then we got that merged back in and tested. And so, yeah, what else did we get done? Yeah, we fixed this one issue with where orgs took a while to create. That bug should be gone now, and we added some more logs to the diagnostic screen that I'll show later. And then finally, like last year, we did one final release to 02.13, and we published a couple of projects, and replication was mostly working to the point where some external person made 2 contributions to Upstream, which we merged this year, which was super exciting to start out the year this way. Yeah, and this month, this week specifically, we want to finalize the roadmap for Upstream for this year and get it approved by the Radicle Foundation. And for us, it's very similar to the Link team. We also want to use Upstream to develop Upstream, and also get other teams using our client, and this way get more feedback on how to improve things. And yeah, I think the first steps that we're going to take, we still need to iron out a couple of remaining replication fixes to get it in a little more stable way, and then we can actually use it for ourselves for the first time and just exchange code. And yeah, and then the last, there's 2 more things. We'll be looking for a product owner for our team, and we also want to start incentivizing people contributing to Upstream, hopefully via Upstream. Yeah, that's, I think, the high-level things, and some quick screen share. Okay, does this work? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 2 little things. This is Upstream. These are the 2 patches that we got merged in this year by Jason. Thank you, Jason. This was super cool. Yeah, if anyone else wants to contribute, feel free. This is the seed node. I also posted it in the general channel. There's 2 projects that you can contribute to. One is Upstream. The other is Radicle Link at the moment. We'll push some more later. And yeah, and then we have this diagnostics screen now, which you can access by a shortcut. I think it's not listed, but it's Command I. And now we have the proxy logs here as well. And one other small change was that we moved around this linking ID feature to the side so that you can see transactions right away. I think that's it from our end. Any questions?
Nope.
Cool.
Cool. Okay, thanks, Rudolph. Thanks, Upstream. Okay, we'll pass it off to alt clients, web.
Sure.
The web team, whoever's
Or the web team. Oh,
I don't know. That's what I have in my notes, but I kind
now
of like
with
it.
this update, you'll see that with this update, that is empirically false. All right, so present window. Okay, we don't have like a super presentation this time, but I will, well, not that we have super presentations other times, but it will be kind of short and sweet. Okay, so I've split things up into kind of the 4 areas that we're working on. On the interface, which is the web part, we've landed a mobile layout, thanks to Sebastian. So now you can browse the web on your mobile phone like you like to do. If you find anything that's weird or that's not working on mobile, let us know, by the way, or open an issue. We have project commit listing. So we're starting to port some of the things from Upstream, and commit listing is one of them. We're going to have branches and stuff like that soon too. And improve anchoring, so you can execute the anchors in the browser now, or like in the web UI, not on Gnosis Safe. So that's fun. And then things that are kind of coming. So that's the orange bit. There's going to be a new seed page. So essentially the kind of seed page on Sprout right now where you can browse projects is going to be on the web interface. And this means that you will be able to browse any seed from that one UI. And I'll show more about that in like next month. And yeah, Sebastian has also been working on testing infrastructure because we have like no tests on the web client. On the CLI, Eric, who I don't think is in the call, but who joined a couple months ago, has a working onboarding flow on the CLI. And this is super exciting, and I'm going to show what it looks like here. So this is kind of the initial prototype, although now we've gone quite a bit further. But essentially you authenticate, that's kind of the first thing, and it kind of creates a profile for you and a key, all that kind of stuff. You put in your username. Then you can sort of, you can go into a Git repository. So here we're cloning a new one. We can type Brad in it. It essentially asks for a default branch and things like that, and then it creates a new project. So this is something we've been wanting for a long time. And then you can publish. And the publish part we're still working on, but this is going to work at the moment. So it obviously does a push to your monorepo, but it's also going to do something else at the moment that is going to be optional in the future. But we are working on a essentially a P2P-less replication. So replication without the peer-to-peer layer, with just vanilla Git, and this will be working while we wait for Radicle link replication and Gossip to be rock solid. And yeah, and so this is the onboarding flow, and then the sync is kind of the part that's missing that we're still working on. And this basically ties into to this part. So on the client services, we have a working replication that uses the new Git SSH signing support to authenticate users and sign pushes. And this essentially allows for full replication of your monorepo state to a node. It's all namespace. It's really cool. I'm gonna show a little bit about that. And this new thing that we've been working on, which is tentatively called the push quorum, which is an alternative to anchoring and is off-chain and free. And the idea is very simple, is that once a quorum of maintainers have pushed a certain commit to a node, then that node has reached quorum on that commit, and we can show it as canonical state on the UI. So it's not as powerful as anchoring or as strong, because you can, when it's off-chain, you can have reverts and conflicts and things like that. But as long as there's no malicious actors and within the delegate set of a project and no one really messes up, it should provide very similar functionality to anchoring. And finally, on the Radicle Cloud front, David, who think is in the call has been making good progress, and we have a working prototype of Radicle Cloud on Hetzner and Ethereum, which allows users to essentially start a service contract with a cloud provider, and that cloud provider will replicate that user's projects for them and charge a rate, a fixed rate over time, basically. And yeah, that's about it for us. The only thing I wanted to show quickly is kind of the idea of the push quorum, which may not make any sense to some people, but hopefully it gives you a little idea. So essentially you have in green here, you have delegates of a project. In gray, you have delegates / maintainers. We call them maintainers in Upstream. And in gray here, you have just a random user. At first, when Alice pushes and Eve pushes, they basically push to their own subtrees, so their own forks, essentially, in GitHub terminology. And this doesn't provide any canonical state for the project. And then finally, when Bob pushes, we have 2 out of 3 of the delegates who have pushed. And of course, it pushes Bob's subtree, but it also sets the head and the master branch or the main branch of the project. So the canonical state is set at that point. And so in the UI, we can essentially show like, hey, this is the main branch for this project across all delegates. And this kind of works like an anchor without needing to specifically do anything other than pushing state. So that's it for us. Thank you. And I will take any questions if there are any.
Maybe I missed it, but how is the quorum decided? Is it like a hard-coded thing, or do you like add it to the project document?
Right. At the moment, it's just defaults to majority. So or divided by 2+1 kind of thing.
Yeah.
If Radicle Link supports non-majority quorums or super majority quorums, then that's something we could obviously support.
Well, one thing we're thinking about changing quorums for is the personal identities, so that you don't need to go across all your devices or half your devices plus
so you
one,
just need 2, for example. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think we'll be changing it for projects.
I mean, majority is probably what most people expect, but yeah, if you have like 30 delegates, then maybe you don't want majority.
Yeah. Cool. Interesting. Nice.
Thanks.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Alexis,
you.
for the update. Great work. Awesome. So let's hand it off to the Drips team. Yeah. Maybe Andrew.
Sounds great. Yeah, I think I'll do the update. Let me just try to share my screen. All right. Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Great. Let's see. I always like struggle with this. Okay, cool. I did put together some slides just really quick this morning. So we actually have some exciting updates from the Drips team. We've done kind of a soft launch last month of the MVP, which is live on Ethereum mainnet. So we've done just a little bit of, and I'll give a little very quick demo of that. I think there'll be much more kind of announcement coming in the next few weeks, but I might just show a little bit. And we've been doing some initial kind of onboarding of users, and community is mostly just kind of people who are close. It's been kind of slow at the holidays getting in touch with people. But yeah, as I said, we're planning to do a much bigger announcement next week. We'll probably do a public blog post on Mirror and possibly kind of through some other channels. But the app is actually live right now at drips.radicle.network. The contracts we think are final, but the app is still evolving. We are doing there's some bug fixes and issues, but if you're excited to be an early adopter, we'd love to have you jump in and start using it. And then we also have a first draft of documentation. I realize people watching can't click on the links, but I'll share this presentation in the Drips channel in Discord and probably also on Discourse. So yeah, let's just give like try to give a quick demo of what it looks like. So this is kind of the landing page. Got kind of the catchphrase from the song from the 90s, if anyone remembers that. Yeah, so maybe before I jump into the app, I'll just, show the documentation. This is kind of what that looks like. We've got a bunch of different sections. It's still evolving as well, but should give people be able to give you a good overview if you're watching this and wondering what is Drips, or how might I use it. This is probably the place to start. We've got lots of little pages to explain that stuff. So jumping into the app, this is and again, this will be evolving even over the next week, but just kind of the landing page, the explore page. We just have one community set up so far, and as just like a quick reminder, communities are a way to raise funds in an ongoing or one-time way to support your project. You can think of it as kind of like a decentralized Kickstarter or Patreon. And CloudHead has set up the Nakamoto community on here. This is a privacy-preserving Bitcoin like client implementation, and so to support him, you would click on join and walk through the process there. But maybe I'll kind of show what it looks like to create one of these communities. So if you're interested in raising funds for an open source project, for example, that you want to raise funding for, or really any kind of creative effort, this is how you'd start. So you click create. I'm gonna walk through here. You can add like a icon logo for the project. And just kind of the basic stuff, name, description. You can add kind of social and website. And I think we need a name, so we'll just go with this default, which is computer club. So this would be like if you were gonna raise money for your computer club. And click next, and then you can decide whether you want to do a subscription or a one-time payment. I think the one-time payment is actually still disabled for the moment in the UI. And then you can choose what kind of a minimum subscription fee you want your supporters to have to support you with. So this is like the minimum. People can obviously choose to support with more, but this is monthly, and it's in DAI. For this version, only DAI is supported. So let's say it's a computer club, so let's say it's a $5 a month minimum, and you have to give it a token. This will actually be the token symbol for the NFTs that people receive as kind of membership badges. So we'll just use the default again. And then this monthly funding goal kind of tells your prospective supporters like how much you're looking to raise. So let's say we think it is going to take like $200 a month to support this computer club. We're going to buy some computers for the kids or something. Then you can add you can also add a custom image. This would be the image that is used for the NFTs that the members receive if you want to, but you can also just leave that blank. So click next, and then you can specify benefits. So this is one of the kind of the cool things. I think we've talked about this in the past, and again, there'll be more details about this, but the two integrations that we're launching with are you can have gated access to like a private Discord channel. So if you have a Discord server, you can allow members to be able to access like a private channel where you might kind of announce early features or special events or something like that. And then you can also do voting through snapshots. So you would just kind of describe that here. And obviously, it could be whatever else you might want to give your supporters. It could be like if they support you with 1,000 DAI a month, they get to like have dinner with you once a year or something, or with the team. So yeah, you would kind of fill out here, and then, but I'm just gonna say skip for now. And then, gosh, we could spend a lot of time going through all the details. This is kind of a cool thing where projects can choose to, this is one of the features we're most excited about, where projects can kind of choose to sort of spread the love or pay it forward by dripping to other projects that they depend on in the space, or researchers, or even they could use this to reward contributors. So you can choose to sort of specify parts of the funds that your community raises that'll be passed on. So you would just kind of add each of those here, and then the final step is review. And when you click create, it's going to prompt you to do an Ethereum transaction and sign it in MetaMask or whatever wallet you have, and then boom, your community will be live. So that's kind of what that looks like. Again, pretty excited that this is live. I might just show the other thing I want to just quickly show, and the easiest way to access this is if you don't want to go all the way through the process of having a community, you can actually as a user, you can actually do many of the same things. So you can drip to individuals. So this is like, for example, we've jumped to the page of Cloudhead here, who created the Nakamoto community, but like any user would basically have this page, including just an Ethereum address. So anyone with an Ethereum address actually has this page on the Drips app and can configure Drips to other projects. It can receive Drips from other projects, and it can also see the communities that they've joined. So if you don't want to go all the way through setting up a community, but you want to drip to a project or drip to another person, or even you want to configure these kind of what we're calling split style drips, you can kind of do all of that here on your page in the app, and you'd actually just go to like for whatever your Ethereum address is, you would actually just go to this app and go here, and it'll actually, if you log in with MetaMask, it'll actually appear right here in the app. So that's kind of a quick overview. I'm sorry, Abby, I know I'm probably kind of like over my 5 minutes, but super excited that we're launching this and wanted to give people kind of a flavor. So yeah, okay, well, maybe jumping back to this, I'll just give a little update on what's next. So as I said, we're hoping to announce more publicly next week. Hoping to get a lot more kind of communities and users joining. And then obviously with that, we'll be iterating on the web app. We have a number of bug fixes and enhancements we're already working on, but I'm sure more will come up. And we do have a GitHub where we're tracking the issues. So if you're kind of interested in zooming into the details there, you want to report something, this is the place to do that. In GitHub, I can just, it'll take me away if I click on that. But and then okay, so like once that's done, what's next? We're already looking at big features for Drips version 2, based on kind of feedback from early users, and also just all the different teams we've been talking to. I think better integration with ENS and Radicle orgs is something people are really excited about. And then layer 2, obviously, for lower transaction fees. We're looking already at both those things. And then also work streams is evolving fast. So we want to continue to work with the work streams team to support them with kind of the best features for them to use to build work streams on top of. And so yeah, I think that's it. Lots of stuff happening, really exciting. So be on the lookout for more announcements coming next week. And please get involved, try Drips if you're interested in it, if you're curious about it. And you can always find us on the Discord channel at Drips in the Radicle Discord.
Awesome. Thanks for that great update. Super excited for Drips to go public. I would recommend everybody go try out the app. It's really fun, and I think it would be really cool to start seeing all of our core teams experimenting with how they want to use Drips, in practice as well. So it'll be really fun to start dogfooding this. I think the community team already has some ideas for what we want to do as well. So any questions for Drips team?
Do you have some exciting partners or communities who are set to join?
Gosh, the answer is yes. I feel like I wish Ellie was here.
I can talk to some of them because we've been
Great.
Nassar and I have been helping with some of the partnerships and stuff like that, the onboarding partners. I think the coolest thing that we've been onboarding people to with regards to drips is kind of like onboarding drips dependencies. So we've reached out to ENS, Gnosis Safe, Gnosis Guild, these bigger organizations like Wallet Connect, saying, send us your ETH address because we want you to receive a portion of drips budget or incoming drips, because your technology has been, or community or project has been, important to making drips happen. And that has actually really resonated. So like we have ENS on board, Gnosis, Wallet Connect, and probably at least like 4 other big projects in the Web3 space who have submitted ENS names or addresses to receive drips, and who will be also like talking about this experiment next week when we go public. So that's really exciting, I think. And then there's been a couple other, these are the ones that LA, I think, Nassar has also been talking to a bunch of projects in the ecosystem, and LA, I think, has like a couple specific projects who want to configure their own drips and community communities on Radicle as well. But I think it's been really cool to see these larger Web3 projects be really excited about the prospect of participating in, a FOSS funding experiment, and be even more excited to add their own drips. So we're funding projects that then will be adding their own dependencies. And so we'll kind of see some tertiary like value flows from this initial experiment that we're doing. So I think that that's pretty cool.
Cool, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and just a quick note. Well, I don't know if this is like too much detail, but for projects that aren't going to set up communities, but are going to set up kind of drip configurations in the way that Abbey mentioned, we're going to make those, actually Everett's already got a new version of the UI that kind of makes that more prominent. So I think that'll be cool to sort of see more of those projects as well in the Explore page. So.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, so exciting to touch on this next week. Everybody should just stay. We'd love, I think, amplification for everything that's happening with the drips launch as well. So be sure to keep an eye out for it. Cool. Thank you, Andrew, for that update. So I'll give a quick update from the community team. Awesome as well. From our side, things are going through a lot of restructuring. As the year ends, core teams reevaluate their objectives. And I think the community team has grown a bunch over the last year. So we're looking to split and start creating little modular teams within our organization, so we can start refocusing on and creating more structured focus around growth, which is an initiative Nassar will be leading based off of his efforts over the last couple of months that he's been on the team. Governance, which Shelby and I will be leading, trying to keep activating governance, moving things forward. And then marketing, which is where Tom, who's coming in, I'm sure everybody saw his post in Radicle.community. He's going to be continuing to kind of push forward the efforts there. And then some more general, like interdependent community things that will probably fall under my and Shelby's umbrella. So this month will kind of be spent figuring that out about how we want our organizational structure to be. I see probably 1 or 2 more core teams coming forth, and some interesting restructuring in, just in general, like how we're working and what we're doing. But I think the main focus for the next month is to figure out how we can empower all the leaders in their different sectors, but then also how we can kind of clean up our community infrastructure in general. So Shelby and I are working on a lot of different like inter-project work. That's anything from cleaning up our Discord to keeping it spam free to restructuring our community call infrastructure, reevaluating if Twitch is the right thing. How can we get more of our Discord channel involved in these community channels, to, reevaluating our radical.xyz website, right? And our collective project assets, and trying to create more of a foundation for the project so we can continue building our open source community. You're welcome for the Discord cleanup. We still have more work to do. So honestly, Em and I are chatting about that tomorrow. So I think that that's where the work will be generally focused in the community team over the next month, is just trying to get things cleaned up and in a more resilient place to start moving our community forward in the new year. And then obviously there's a big focus on governance. So I wanted to note that we have our first on-chain governance proposal going live this week. first one in a while. It'll be the first distribution from the Radicle Treasury to fund the past Radicle Grants Program proposal. Boredom's on this call now. You can give an update, but I think we're also just giving updates in the Discord. But this is going to be a really awesome, first big step for us in the new year to get this passed. And so Shelby and I will be sending all the information that you all need to participate in that vote, what the vote means, what it's funding, what's going to be happening from it. But again, it's going to be a big achievement for the Radicle ecosystem to have a grants program funded via the DAO. So that's our big milestone for this week, which will then lead directly into the Radicle Drips launch. So I think we have plenty of stuff on our hands to be working on over the next 2 weeks, and then we'll try to be proactively moving things forward on the community development side as we start restructuring our objectives. So that's kind of what's on my mind, what I'm going to be focused on. Naz, if you have anything that you want to chat about regrowth, or Shelby as well, or Boredom, feel free to hop in here. Or else we can give a more thorough update at the end of the year when we kind of have our objectives all sorted. I mean, at the end of the month.
Oh, I could just
gave
say
me an
really
extension
quickly.
there. Sorry, go on.
Nassar, how about you go first, and then Boredom, you can jump in.
I was just trying to be funny and saying I thought you gave me an extension by saying end of year, but go for it, Boredom.
Yeah, pretty quick on my side. Just like, for example, when I forget who it was already, but someone was saying like, hey, here's some things that we're thinking to do in the coming year, and we'd like to incentivize people externally to come. I think it was the presentation on Upstream said we'd want to incentivize people externally or like to contribute to it. Whenever you think about that, like, feel free to reach out, because I want to like take note of like everything that like we can't put on our plate right now, and we'd want to get someone from the community of developers or users even to contribute to Radicle. So just keep those things in mind, and feel free to shout at me.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll just give a few quick updates too. So yeah, as Abby mentioned, the Radicle Grants Program vote is coming, super exciting. This one is also just a reminder, this is an on-chain vote, so this is going to happen on Sybil. And yeah, like Abby said, we'll provide instructions and information with all of that when it comes, but just an update there. It's not going to be our fun little snapshot polls that we've been doing recently, which is an exciting next step. If anybody is curious about any of the other governance proposals or updates, the notes, this is a link to the governance hub page that has all of the notes and recordings for the last session, or for all the sessions, but for the last session if you're particularly interested. Another just like quick discussion point that Abby and I have been working on or talking about and thinking about a lot lately is this whole discussion around delegation and like a delegation platform, like a development of something like that, like something like in the sorts that Maker has. Abby posted this right before Christmas of some of our thoughts on that. If you haven't taken a look at it yet, feel free to take a look. There hasn't been a ton of feedback or anything yet, but we're already kind of working on like drafting the docs and everything for that, and then hopefully we can get someone from the Radicle Grants Program to maybe build this thing one day, which is super cool. Other quick things, governance newsletter. We're still, as most of you know, we have the governance Twitter that provides all of kind of like the quick, short and sweet updates and links, but we're also still working on and putting together like a little newsletter. If you just so you know, we'll let you know obviously when it comes, but if you prefer to get updates like for governance things via email, that will be coming soon. Also just like, and as Abby said, I guess it's more just like restructuring and then like thinking about new, like how to make information and resources more as accessible as possible. Also just wanted to like maybe ask you folks, like I'll ask the community too. It was like, if anything is unclear, if you're like, why is this here? Why is this not here? Or like, this should be here. Like, this should be like this. Like, please, let us know. Like, it's good to have it. Usually this stuff is super easy fixes. So it would be great to have feedback there too.
Cool. Yeah, I think that that's also on Shelby and I's to-do list as well, which is kind of creating some more public resource hubs. Again, we did it for governance, but we think that we're going to be pushing one forward for kind of like the project. I know that I've shared this project directory in the Discord, which is kind of how we're trying to keep track of Radicle contributors. But we'd like to, over the next month as well, start creating more of go-to hubs for people to access information around the Radicle project. So that's in line. But yeah, feel free to respond to some of the links. Check out the links that I dropped, the links for everything that Shelby just mentioned. So check out the chat. And yeah, so I think that that's kind of it from us. I think that next month we'll have, next call, we'll have a little bit more of, again, like a structured presentation to do with regards to objectives. But it's a very exciting time. There's a lot of different moving parts within the community team. So I'm excited to be reevaluating our structure to kind of create more space for clarity into what work we're doing and where it's happening. So that's it from me. Any questions for us? Oh, cool. Well, one last note is that as we go through all this governance stuff, if you have questions, just ping Shelby and I on Discord. We're here and are going to be around to kind of support everybody through this process. So just be sure to use this as a resource whenever you have questions, either by DMing us or just hopping in the community channel or the working group channel on Discord. Cool. So that's it from us for today. I think that we can call it here since we don't have any more core updates, unless we have any community updates. We have like 3 community contributors in here. Do any of you guys want to chat about anything or have any questions? What is the best way to share more info about the SBR link shared in Discord? Yes, thank you for sharing that. You can drop it. I would love for you to just drop more info in the community channel. Would love mainly just, you already sent the link, but if you have any other thoughts for kind of like why it was intriguing for you with regards to Radicle, feel free to just drop it there. We can have a conversation in community, in public. I think that would be great. Definitely seems like an interesting thing that I'd like to explore more. So feel free to just drop it there. Cool. Any other questions or comments? No? Okay, cool. Then let's call it here, guys. That was a great little wrap up. Really cool to, everybody has so many updates, even though we've only been back for a couple of days. So appreciate everybody joining, and we'll see you guys in a month.
Cool.
See you. Bye,
everyone.
Cool.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Ciao, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.